Okay, welcome back everyone. Thanks for joining me again today. So if you are just coming to this video, please know that there are two other videos in this series about animal research. And the purpose of these videos is to get you excited to start writing, because sometimes that's the hardest part. All right, so this particular video, we're going to focus on searching for credible sources. So I've picked out some sources specifically that I want to evaluate with you and walk you through the process of what am I thinking about as I'm looking at this source on my computer, okay? So I have a checklist for evaluating the credibility of website sources. Please see that you can download this checklist in the description of this video. And then I have these 5 questions to guide us. So first, does the source have an author? If the organization is the author, is the organization credible? And we'll talk about how we determine that. Does the source have a publication date? Does the source demonstrate bias? So what bias means is only one opinion, only one perspective, and that perspective is the only one that you hear. Does the source reference other sources, and do they include links to those sources? All right, so here are my sources that we're going to evaluate together. So I'm going to bring the first one up. Let's see here. Don't want to completely lose my stuff. There we go. Okay, so it's loading. So when I went into Google and I put in animal testing, this was, I think, the second article that came up. So, all right, so I'm looking at this, and first I want to know, what is this organization? People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Okay, so I already know that they have a perspective, and their perspective is animals should be treated ethically. Okay, let me read more about them. All right, 6.5 million members. They focus their attention on 4 areas. Animals suffer in labs, in the food industry, in the clothing trade, and entertainment industry. Okay, so they're not just focused on animal testing, they're focused on other things too that involve animals. What else can we look about here? I wonder if they have their budget. Donate now, so they're asking for money. Become a member, subscribe, so they want you to join. Okay. Contact, where are they? I wonder if they're US based or based somewhere else. Oh, it says right there, Virginia. Okay, so they have an address, so that's good. Oh, it's a non-profit tax-exempt corporation. Okay, so it's a non-profit. All right, well, let's go back to that article. Not that one, this one. So first we're looking for an author. Can we find an author? Oh, there's the emotional video. So this is all pretty emotional too. So they're making an emotional argument so far. They have links. They have links. So you can check those links out. That's nice. Well, that's sad. More links. Some facts. Statistics. So far I don't see any information about why we would want an animal test. Okay. All right, so a problem I see here is so far I don't see anything about the other side. I only see animal testing's awful. That's what I see. I'm just clicking here just to see how they feel about other things. So they don't want people to eat animals either. Okay, so we can kind of see that this group has a very specific point of view, and they're not offering the other points of view on their website. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's nice to read and get ideas, but I don't think that I would use this as a credible source because it just has too much bias in it. Okay. All right, let's check out another one. Go back here. All right. Whoops. Ah, do something. Okay. There it is. Okay. I also found this one, and these kinds of articles are very often clicked on by students because they have a really easy to read headline. Oh, 11 facts about animal testing. Yes, I need that. So let's take a look at it and see if it's credible. DoSomething.org. So first I want to understand who is writing this. So what is DoSomething.org? So it's a volunteer social change civic action group. So in other words, they want to organize people to change political or around political issues to change policies. Okay. So they're not only focused on animal testing, they're focused on lots of different issues. Does anyone have any expertise in animal testing? I'm thinking they don't have expertise in animal testing. PETA at least had information specifically about animal testing. Contact us. Let's find out where they are. They're in New York. They have an address. That's nice. They're also accepting donations. Okay. Our team, I'm just curious. Okay, so it's kind of, yeah, they're kind of being entertaining. Okay. So they're kind of trying to be entertaining about who they are. That's adorable. But I don't know if it's really building their credibility for that particular article. So let's go all the way back to our 11 facts. So now we have an idea of like who the organization is and who's writing that article. All right, so, okay, well, I see sources. I see them here. I see lots of facts. Let's check out the sources. All right, so they're referencing PETA, the last organization we just read about. Humane Society, Humane Society, Humane Society, Humane Society, Humane Society. So I hope that you can see just by looking at their sources, they're only really presenting one side here. And this is something, I mean, this is really important, especially in the digital age where it's so easy to immediately come to a conclusion. We have access to this information now. We need to be critical thinkers and thinking about, all right, is there only one side here or is there another side that we need to consider? Okay, so we can tell just by looking at this that, yeah, it has some nice information, but we also need to keep in mind, like, they have a specific point of view that they're trying to get across in this article. All right, and I think that there are a couple more. Let's see see here. Okay. I don't think it was that one. I think it was one that was a little bit different. Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So here, software-based chemical screen could minimize animal testing. So we have an author, we have a date. Oh, that's the other thing we forgot to look at. We didn't really see an author or a date on the other one, but this one does. This one has an author and a date. The scientist. Let's find out a little bit about the scientist before we go any further. Is a magazine for life science professionals. Oh, okay. So the people who are reading this magazine are actually in the field of this kind of testing. That's good to know. So the people reading, whoever's writing for this magazine knows that the people reading it have understanding and experience in these issues. Oh, it's looking good so far, right? All right, so let's go back to that. Now, as I'm reading this, I'm looking to see, like, does this person have just one opinion and they're just pushing it, or are they kind of laying an argument out? Researchers develop a machine learning tool for toxicity analyses that is more consistent in predicting chemical hazards than assays on animals. Okay. So it's going to tell me about an alternative to animal testing. That's very interesting. I'm skimming now. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Oh, okay. They've quoted somebody. Yes, I see. Someone else is doing that. Got this quote here. Oh, wow. They quoted someone from the Humane Society. That's interesting. And it seems like in just doing some quick skimming that this is leaning towards let's not do animal testing. But it's not pushing it on me like don't ever test on animals. Okay. All right. And then at the very bottom, we have an academic paper that they are citing. I think this is great. I think that the organization is credible, and I think that this author writing about it does so in a very credible manner. So, excellent. Let's go back here for just a moment and keep track of where we are, because I forgot to do this for the other ones. So PETA, we decided a little too biased. This one was just not credible, the people writing about it, and their sources were too biased. And we decided this was good. A couple more left. All right, let me see if I can find that one real quick. I think it was... Okay. Pretty sure that's the one I want. Yes, it is. Okay. All right, here we are. Opinion, label drugs that are tested on animals. Okay, so this person is very clearly, here's my opinion. Okay, we have an author and we have a date. Okay, so as I'm looking at it, I see that it has sources. I already know about the organization that has published this. This person has pathos. She has credibility because she's in the field, right? This is pretty persuasive. So I'm not going to read the whole thing right now, but I want to flag this one as, hey, definitely hold on to this and read it more closely and see if it's something that I want to keep. So I'm going to go ahead, put that there. And our last one from The Guardian. Okay, here we go. Okay. Wow. Drop coaster. All right, so The Guardian is a newspaper. I knew that, but let's imagine you didn't know that at all. Let's find out about The Guardian first. So we're going to scroll to the bottom. First thing I notice is that there's an awful lot of flashy advertisements and other things, and they're asking me for money. And unfortunately, this is kind of the state of newspapers and magazines because everyone's getting information for free. Magazines and newspapers are in a really tough position because they need money to operate, and nobody wants to pay for anything that they get on the internet anymore, which is sad. I don't know what to do about it. All right. About us. There we go. Okay. So it seems pretty credible. They have contact information. They have a long history, renowned for these different awards. So, okay. Sounds good. Now let's look for an author. We have an author. Oh, Dr. Sarah Bailey. We have a date. And we even have a time, if you wanted to know the time. All right. She has sources. This is the end. This is the end of the article here. Oh, she even referenced the monkey lab, which is one of the videos that I mentioned in the first video, that the documentary that was graphic, but also very good. So she mentioned that. Interesting. So this one, she definitely has credibility as a person in the field. It's within a credible newspaper. So I'm going to say that this one's a little mixed. I see. Honestly, I would be okay if this were in a paper. I'd be fine if this was used as one of the sources in my students' paper. So I'm going to put it here. What's important to consider in figuring out if it's credible or not is, does the person use other sources? Are those sources credible? And by the way, I was assuming that they were. I didn't actually go and read the other sources. You noticed that. But I'm assuming that they were. Maybe I shouldn't, but I did. You know, it's a short video that we're doing here. But to be a good student, you should go and check out those other sources to make sure that the source is credible. So it does take time and effort to figure out if a source is credible or not, but it is incredibly important to do when you're doing academic research. All right, I think that's it. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me for this 3-part series to get you ready to write a paper about animal research. If you have ideas or questions or things that you want to talk through, go ahead and put those out on the comments of this video, and as I have time, I will get back to you. Good luck writing, and I'll definitely see you next time.